Hi, I'm Livasi, and I am so excited to be here with y'all, giving a little update on what's been going on the last couple of months. I've been a little quiet since my last release. A lot has really been shifting in my world, personally, creatively, structurally, within how I'm rolling out my music and my business. I've really just been growing a lot in my faith in this season as well. The biggest personal news is that I'm engaged. I'm getting married this summer, and that has been such a cool and exciting thing to look forward to. I love my fiance. I'm so excited to marry him. But the fiance era has been so different than I thought it would be. And it's been much more reflective and emotional than I ever heard anybody talk about. And it was really unexpected. I think that this idea of me moving forward into a new chapter of my life as a wife and getting a literal new identity, because I'm about to change my last name, has made me reflect on who I've been up until this point. And that's come with some grieving a little bit too, in a way of like, wow, I'm not going to be the me that I've known. And this won't be the first time that I have a major shift in my life and how I show up in the world and with myself. The biggest shift really was when I gave my life to Jesus and became a whole new person for real in that way. But this season has just been so emotional. And I've been really quiet in it. I've been at the house. I even went back to my parents' house in North Carolina and went into my childhood bedroom and, looked at pictures of myself when I was a little kid and laughed and cried at memories I have in my little memory box. And I've really been going back in time and reflecting on who I've been as I'm in a season of moving forward. And an exciting, a cool, and sometimes a scary place to be when you don't know what's on the other side of forward. So, this next era is called, drumroll, meet me at the altar. So, I am obviously getting married at an altar in a couple of months. So, this concept in this era is both literal and figurative because I wanted to tell the story of how meeting God at his altar on my knees in prayer and that intimate time with the Lord really changed my life over the last couple of years and led me to now, in a couple of months, walking down the altar to marriage and entering into a new covenant with my soon to be husband. And so the songs will be telling the story kind of in past and present from 2019 up until now. So I actually met my fiance in 2019. We were just friends, but it was a really important year in my life. I was single. I was 21, turned 22 that year, and it was my first full year living in Atlanta. So I feel like it was that year that I really like grew up, right? Like I went from being, a teenager to a young adult. And that came with a lot of trial and error, mostly error. Uh, that it really is a miracle that I even made it out of. And so I really want to tell the stories from 2019. And some songs are from the perspective of 2019 Lee. I feel like this is important for me to share with you guys because I think that none of my music that I have out right now would exist without the year 2019. Like so much of like My Bad, Baptize Me, Liberate Me, like those kinds of songs come from a lot of the experiences and traumas and joys that I first experienced in 2019 and carried with me for years up until, really giving my life to Jesus. And what's so interesting about this whole period is that I was seeking God kind of off and on the whole time, right? Even when I was at my wildest, I still like would hit God up every now and then and open my Bible every now and then. And he never let me go through all of those seasons, even when I wasn't doing things his way. he was always there. He was always like, okay, whenever you're ready, you know? And so I think it's really important to share that as I get ready to close that chapter, right? I'm never going to be single again. I'm going to be married. So I'm never going to be single again. I'm never going to be who I was in 2019 ever again. I'm never going to be who I was even pre 2019 ever again. This is a new person. I'm a new person. This new music is kind of an ode to that chapter of my life that I think it deserves a final bow before we fully head out and move on to bigger and better. So the first single is called Forward. And it is coming out on July 3rd. And it really is an anthem of the decision to move forward when you kind of you don't want to be stuck in the past, but you like kind of are. And at some point you just have to decide like enough is enough and it's time to move forward and be a new person and do a new thing. And that takes a lot of courage. It's something that I've had to navigate and, fight through and have faith through several times in my life at different eras. And I think that it's a song that can really speak to a lot of different scenarios like moving forward, whether it's in relationships or your business or your faith or your ideas. I think Forward is a song that can kind of speak to universal experience of that decision when you know it's time to be new. I'm really excited to share this new song and hear what you guys think of it. It is the first of this era of Meet Me at the Altar. It's a really special song, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So, a little backstory on Forward. I was actually at the beach with my mom. I texted my mom and I was like, I just really need some mommy time. And we ended up going to the beach, and I'm reading a book on the beach called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it's literally about shifting your brain pathways and training your brain to become a new person and to establish new habits. And it acknowledged how, like, our body will fight our brain when even if we think we're ready to go do something else, we want to move forward, our body still wants to do what's comfortable, and what's comfortable is what we've done before, so we have to do new things. So I'm reading this book and it's just speaking so much to my experience and where I am in my life, but also I feel like it really echoed a lot of biblical principles. And I'm already in the middle of this, kind of stripping away season and getting back to myself. And, I'm on the beach and I decided, I was like, you know what? I want to get my hair wet in the ocean. I know this is not revolutionary, to be clear, but it had been years since I just dipped my head in the water at the beach because for the last couple of years, I have been really busy and I've been, wearing beautiful braids that I really wanted to maintain to keep between, shows or interviews or what have you. Like I never really allowed myself to fully decompress in that whole era. So I am on the beach. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in the ocean and get my hair wet. And I walked in the ocean and when I did it, I felt I felt like a baptism in a way. And I just sat out there in the ocean and I was talking to God and just allowing the salt and the water and the algae and like whatever else is in the ocean to just wash over me and really just cleanse me. And I felt brand new. And I said to God, God, I want to be new. I'll be new. Maybe like a day or so later, I got the inspiration for this song Forward. I can say that I wrote it in real time of me actually making a decision to move forward and my hair and embracing, my curls and just the way that I have been designed by God himself. And I've always, been somebody that I love braids and I love natural hair. My coming to love my natural hair was a journey, but by the time I was in college, like I big chopped, I was, always wearing my hair natural, and it really is a decision that I made, and I can only speak for myself, but when you are a young girl and you're combating beauty standards that, don't always show your hair type, or, you go to school and, you get other children making comments about your hair type, it can affect you. And it definitely affected me for a long time. My parents always really um, told me my hair was beautiful. My mom has beautiful curly hair and she always wears her curls. And I was taught in the house to embrace it, but the world taught me otherwise. And so it was a journey for me to come to love my natural hair in college. But since then, like, I've loved my natural hair, and I've always loved just protective styles and braids and twists and all of those things. But it really was a decision for me to let the curls loose. The decision I made to come fully as I am and fully as I was designed is just a reflection of, I guess, like, me not wanting to perform anymore. Like, I think that I've always had very honest lyrics and very vulnerable, topics in my music, but I wasn't vulnerable with myself. Like, I was more vulnerable with, like, y'all than I was with myself, if that can even make sense. Like, I wasn't giving myself grace. I was being very hard on myself. I felt like I had to be a perfect Christian, be a perfect woman, and that wasn't going too well. But I think that I'm at a point right now where I know my limits and I know my boundaries, and I know that I'm nothing without God strengthening me anyway. So why not just, like, exist, you know? I really just I'm in a space where I just want to feel lighter. I want to feel lighter. I want to just let go and move forward and take what I've learned from the past, leave the baggage where it needs to stay. And so taking my last set of braids out and keeping the curls out and deciding ultimately to reintroduce myself to you guys in my purest state is something I'm really excited about, and being able to just share in that freedom, not only with the visual era of Meet Me at the Altar, but with the songs and what I'm going to bring you in on. Some songs from the POV of 2019 Lee and some songs of 2026 Lee. But it's been an amazing 7 years that have shaped me since 2019 that I'm excited to put to rest, and to honor in a way that is true to the experiences I've had, but also glorifying to God. And one last thing I'll say about my hair is in 2019, I was natural. When I met my fiance, he used to call me Afro Lee. He still calls me Afro Lee because that's who I was. And that's who I am. This is who I am. So something I'm really excited about with the Meet Me at the Altar era is that we're not only going to be doing visual drops and song drops, but we are also going to be doing visual letters. This is the first of them. So I'm going to be doing personal, very intimate videos where I'm bringing you guys into the music and bringing you guys into the world of 2019 to 2026 that created Meet Me at the Altar. And you have to make sure that you're checking your emails, because we will be sending them out to your emails first, so that you can get a first look on what's going on and what's next as we roll out these next songs. And so I would like to officially invite you into the Meet Me at the Altar era. The first single drops July 3rd forward. Make sure that you are checking your emails for exclusive early content. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what kind of juicy details you want next. I'm excited to go into this new world with y'all and bring y'all in on what God has been doing for me and in me in the last 7 years on the way to the altar.
I try to get away from the old me, try to write a new kind of story. I kinda wish somebody would've told me how hard it is to break up with a memory, but